Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with another episode of our Let's Mod Mountain Blade Warband series. And I'm actually re-recording this episode because I wasn't happy with the end result that we got at the end of my first recording. So, essentially what we were trying to do in this episode is we had our Swadian greatcoat, and we were trying to add some chest rigging to it. Now, the rigging I chose is the one from the Nord uniforms in Parabellum 1.2. So this is one variety of it. There's, I think, four different setups with different like riggings on them that all look similar but slightly different, so you can get some variety. I thought they looked really cool and very like World War One, so I was going to transfer them over, and you can see that I did that. However, the way that I did this is not the best way to do it, and so when we got into game, I wasn't happy with the result. Essentially, you can export static meshes from this and transfer them over to a new resource and import them back in. However, OpenBRF will only support mounting the static meshes to a single bone. So, for example, for this chest rigging here, when I imported it, I rigged it to the, let's see here, if we mount on bone, to the thorax. However, that's not good enough because this rigging needs to be attached to the thorax, the abdomen, and a little bit to, I mean, I don't know if it's super important, but the left shoulder might help as well. So when we got into game, it looked a little bit funky. Essentially, the shoulders were fine, and every time he moved his upper body, the rigging went with it. But the belt didn't sit properly and would clip through the torso all the time. So we're going to scrap that. Again, I wasn't happy at all with the way it came out, and there is a better way to do it. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Now, I have the greatcoat here with these. We're just going to outright delete that. And then I duplicated the greatcoat, and this is what you guys would have been walked through making in the previous recording. I went step by step on how to import this over and get it all set up. But we're going to do this a better way, so we're going to delete all of this as well, right about there. And then in between videos, I got these trousers here. They're nothing special. It's literally just a texture and mesh from the resource we were already using. I didn't retexture it. All I did was import the textures from the old mod. So nothing really to see here. I did this exactly as I did the original greatcoat that we did, this one. So nothing new here. I just figured we needed some trousers, and these fit the bill perfectly fine. So this is what we'll use. So yeah, we've got greatcoat A, greatcoat B. Now, we're going to set this up very similar to how I just had it. However, in order to preserve all of the different mountings that these have, we're actually going to import the entire resource over, delete what we don't want, and then if we rename it in the imported resource, so for example, if we call this Swadian Greatcoat B.1, the game will recognize it across multiple resources. So we can still have the sort of layered mesh that we had before, but we can preserve the original mountings on these. However, the difficulty we're going to have is that if they don't line up perfectly with the greatcoats, then we're going to have, you know, some weird clipping and stuff happening. So I'm actually going to do this backwards. Well, first things first, let's go to, let's see, which mod is this? Parabellum. Okay, perfect. We're going to go to resources, and I believe this is Army Nord's new. So we're going to copy that, and then we're going to go to our mod that we're working on, and I've already got the resources open, and we're going to paste that over. And I'm going to call this, I don't know, maybe equipment underscore A, something like that. And then we want to open that up wherever it went. There it is. So these are all going to be untextured. I've already transferred the textures to the new mod, obviously. If you're not familiar with how to do that, check out the previous episode, because I go into great detail on it in there. Well, did this open twice or something? Let's see. I think it did, yeah. So we'll close one of those. Alright, so I don't need any of the actual uniforms. I'm not going to use those. I just want the chest riggings. So anything like this we'll get rid of. I do want these in order though, because it's going to be a lot easier to navigate all of this stuff if they're numbered, you know, properly. I'll just leave that since at least there's no 2 in the way there. Apparently there's no 1 here. Do I need any of this? I don't think so. I'm going to get rid of that. These trousers can go. I might hang on to this rifle here. Is that just a bayonet? Oh no, it's actually a gun. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm sure it's in other resources that I can use, and I may not even end up using that weapon, so yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. So we'll get rid of all that. Alright, now we just have the various chest riggings and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my textures. I don't need this. That can go. We'll import new textures. And again, I've already got these transferred over. So the first one is going to be jack equipment. Copy that over. Then we're going to import invisible, which is my specular for some of this stuff. And then we're going to import all of this stuff except for the greatcoat. So all of that. Alright, and then I'm going to organize these just so they're a little bit easier to navigate. Again, when you're dealing with a lot of this stuff, the more organized it is, the more efficient you can work. So I like to do something like that. And then this material will work just fine. This is the correct shader, so all we need to do is basically duplicate this a bunch. I'm not sure how many we'll need. Let's start with that and see where it goes. So we'll need one for jack equipment. I should be using my hotkeys here. F2 is the hotkey for renaming, by the way. And then Alt, if you hold Alt and press the arrows, you can move stuff around. So let's see, we'll rename this to jack equipment, and then we'll need Swadian equipment 1A, 1B, and 1D. And we can do that a little bit faster just by, actually, you know what, remove that. If we, nope, not what I meant to do. Rename, paste that in. And then the diffuse is going to be that. The bump, I believe, is that _n. Yeah. And then the specular is invisible. And the game, or the program will autocomplete that for us. So now we can just duplicate this, rename it to B, and then put B's instead of A's in here. And that's done. And then we'll duplicate that one more time, rename it, this time to D, and we'll pop D's in there. And so that's all done. I don't think there's any other that we're going to need. If there are, I'll take care of them off camera real quick. So let's grab this. I think I already had that copied, but just in case. And that'll be, let's see, why isn't that working? Is that not the right one? What is going on here? That should have automatically, let's see, if I put that in, it's recognizing the texture, so what is the issue? What is going on here? Okay, so I got it all fixed. Basically, the issue was I still had the materials under the same name over here, and so the program didn't know like what I was trying to refer to because there was two materials under the same name. So now that I've got that all taken care of, we just need to rename the rest of these, or relabel the rest of these, I guess I should say. So let's copy that, and I think this is, nope, that's a B. There we go. That one's good. This one should be an A. I didn't mean to press that. There we go. That is D. Alright, and this one is jack equipment. There we go. Crap. That means, you know what, here, we'll rename this to jack equipment brown. How about that? It just needs to be a different name because there's something else referring to that same. Okay, that works too. You know what? Just to do things properly. Something's in. God damn it. You know what? There. Fine, that works. Apparently there's something else named jack equipment brown. Let's get rid of that. And let's see, that should be A. This is D. What is this? Oh, more uniforms. Let's get rid of that as well. And then we will go ahead and rename these, or reassign these, I guess is more accurate. And we'll get rid of that because that seems to work. Okay, so now we have everything properly textured in the new mod folder. Now we just need to rename them accordingly. So now that we've gotten all of that taken care of, see, this is actually a much faster way to do it as well. I can actually duplicate these, so let's go ahead and duplicate that. And we'll group rename this Swadian Greatcoat C. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put machine guns into this mod, so I don't know if I want to include this one, because this is, I think, like the machine gunner rigging. That's why it's got the bigger pouches there and the heavier backpack. I'm not sure if I want to or not, so I'm not sure if I want to include this. So I guess I'll do it, and I can always just not use it. So let's go ahead and duplicate that one more time, and we'll rename this Greatcoat D. And for the sake of consistency, I'm actually going to rename this as well, but that means that I will need to go into Morgs and change it. But it'll be fine. I want to keep things consistent. So A, B, C, D. Alright, now let's go ahead and copy that. Then we'll come back over. Oh, not at all what I meant to do there. Come back over here, and for this one, we're going to grab everything labeled Nord Uni New 1 point whatever. It doesn't matter what's after the decimal, just we want that whole set, not a new set. Then we're going to group rename everything before that decimal Swadian Greatcoat A. And then for this one, same thing, anything with that new 2. I mean, the program's smart enough to figure it out. So if you select something that's not part of that combined mesh, it'll show it in a separate little window there. So you shouldn't be able to screw this up, but just in case, you know, make sure you're checking these. We're going to group rename this, again, before the decimal. We want to keep that decimal there. B. And then for 3, we're going to name it C. And finally for 4, D. I think that's pretty straightforward. Group rename D. Okay. So that's all done. Now, we want to save this. And if we were to put these into the game via Morgs, the game will recognize the coat from this one and the rigging from this, and it will combine them in the game. However, as I mentioned, we don't know if these are lined up properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here, and we're going to do this a little bit backwards. We're going to export static mesh, and we're going to export our Swadian Greatcoat there. And I'll just leave it somewhere randomly in that folder. It doesn't really matter where it is as long as I can find it. So, not what I meant to do there. I meant to click on static mesh, and we want to find our Swadian Greatcoat. There it is. And let's... Did I bring this into the right one? Yeah, I did. Okay. Let's bring it on up to here. And this is going to be the basis for lining everything up. So now we can do that and see, okay, it's kind of off. So we're going to need to fix that. Now, I know from experience that, again, we want to be moving the LODs as well, because everything needs to be in the right position, not just the main ones. From the last video, I know that if we go into, hold on, let me show you the name of that tool better. Roto Translate Rescale. This allows us to basically move the thing around however we want, so we can rotate it forward, back, you know, spin it, tilt it to the side. We can move it side to side, up and down, forward, back. We can also rescale it. If you keep this ticked, it'll rescale the whole thing. However, when you're scaling stuff and rotating stuff, it's doing it in respect to the origin. So it's going to scale it down toward the center of this grid, meaning, you know, if you want to shrink something, you're going to have to translate it back up. But we don't need to do that. And then, of course, you can untick this and do things individually, so I can, like, smash it flat, or, you know, make like a really fat guy or something. Anyway, I know from experience that we need to rotate this roughly 6 degrees to get the proper lean. So that looks about right. It's just pushed too far back, and I believe it's up, or it's down a little bit low as well, so we need to like lift it up just a tiny bit. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna raise it up before I forget. And that's gonna be way too much. We don't need it. Oh wait, I'm scaling it. What am I doing? I want to be translating it, and I want to be translating it on the y-axis. I think 1/100th or 0.01 is enough, just to get it a little bit up over the shoulders. And then I like to do things step by step, so not doing multiple translations at once. I just find it's easier to keep track of what you're doing that way and not get confused or end up moving it some weird direction. So then I'm gonna translate it probably about that much on the z-axis, and that's pretty close. Is there any clipping? It doesn't look like it, actually, which is surprising, because I definitely did not get that lucky the first time around. There's a bit of clipping right there. Okay. So do I have room to play with up front? It looks like I have a little bit. So if we move it back slightly, we should be all right. So let's go ahead and move that back, and I think we'll do another 100th. That's with a TH. And that looks pretty good. I don't see any clipping, but it's hard to tell in this program. I'm okay with that. So that is the first one done. Now I'm gonna do the rest. I'll do this off camera because you guys have already seen the process, so you should be able to figure it out from there. So I'm just gonna make sure the other ones line up correctly, and then we're gonna put these in game and take a look at them. Okay, so I've got them all squared away, I think. Let's take a look here. So with B, B was the only one I had any real trouble with, and I think I got it to where there's no clipping. I ended up having to shrink the chest riggings height-wise and then expand them a little bit depth and width-wise. But they ended up working out okay after I did that. There's a couple of places where it sits a bit high, but I'm more concerned with clipping, and I don't see any. So I think we're in good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this so I don't get like a double mesh anywhere. Then we'll go ahead and save that. And one thing I need to do before we start the game up or do anything in Morgs is, as you guys saw last time, anytime you add a new anytime you add a new resource to the mod, you need to, I didn't mean to double click that. Come on, I got way too much stuff running right now. There we go. I spelled equipment right? Close enough. Let's see. So we're gonna go into module.ini, and that should actually open in my proper word processor, even though it's showing Notepad. There we go. So yes, I will go ahead and add another line here. But yeah, we need to make sure that we add the new resource to the module ini, otherwise the mod won't load it. So there we go. We can go ahead and close that. And now we're going to go into, well, we should open this back up. We're going to go into morgues, and a couple of these items are already added because, again, I am re-recording this. So I have this. This is the original one that we made last time. I'm going to add the _A before I forget, and then we'll update it. And we have B. Wait, why did that? Oh, I need to add it here too. There we go. And now we can just basically duplicate this down. So I don't know why my brain is crapping out of me right now, but we're going to copy that. We're going to go to here. We're going to paste it there and change it to C. And then we'll paste it here, change it to C, and click update. This is going to be 15. Body armor. Yeah, that's all correct. Good, good, good. So let's just rename it here. We're going to call them all Swadian Greatcoat, because as far as the game is concerned, there's no real difference between these. It's just to give the troops some variety. But they're going to be worn by the infantry in, you know, random amounts or whatever. Brain not works so good right now. Okay, and then we need to do the same thing here with D. So paste that in. Oh, damn it. Alright, let's go back here. We'll copy this again. And then paste it here. Go D. Paste it here. Another D. Update that. And then we'll type this in. Copy that. Paste it here. Update that to 15. Make sure these are all checked. They are. Update that, and we should be done. So let's save. We're going to go ahead and create a backup, as we always do. And now we're going to jump in game and see if any of this worked. Hopefully it did. Okay, so jumping back into my test save to see if that worked. By the way, I had to tweak something. So if you're using the exact same mods and following along with me, you'll probably run into this too. But the shaders being used by the chest riggings from Parabellum use it uses a shader that's not in this mod. So all I did was I took the shader being used by my uniforms and copied that over. So if you get that error, it tells you that whatever shader doesn't exist. Just copy and paste over the shader from your uniforms. But if you're using different mods, then you probably didn't run into that issue. Anyway, let's go ahead and open the cheat menu. By the way, if you don't know how to do that, I don't think I mentioned last time, hold left control, or any control, but left control is probably easier. And then it's the tilde key, which is the one with the wavy line on it in the top left. It's above tab, next to 1, and below escape. So hold control, press that. That'll open the command line, and then you type in cheat menu, hit enter, and there you have it. If you want to turn cheat menu off, it's the same thing, but type in no cheat menu. But I'm not going to do that. Well, actually, I kind of have to now. Never mind. Let's just do that. Okay. So, cheat menu, and we're on the 3rd page, I believe. Oh, is it? Oh, cool. It carried over. Nope, that's not the right one. I went too far. So, that's the 3rd page. And there we go. It worked. So, we've got that one. It seems to be working okay. Let's grab all of them so we can test them all. And I'll grab the trousers as well. Although the boots need to be more black. I'm going to have to tweak that. That's okay. That's an easy or quick little retexture. Not a big deal. I'll keep the sword. Let's cheat ourselves some money. By the way, if you don't know the cheat for money, it's Control X. Handy when you're testing stuff like this. So let's go back, and then we're going to go into the walk around area. And it's looking pretty good. So what was happening last time in the previous version of this episode that I recorded is certain parts of the rig or the chest rig would start clipping through, like the belt, for example, would swing back through his body because only the shoulders were attached. So now that the whole rigging is attached, it all moves with him, and it looks a lot better, in my opinion. this uniform isn't really intended to be ridden on horseback because, you know, it's a great coat. So yeah, it looks better on foot, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut here. I'll switch uniforms and I'll just give you guys like a little montage of how each one looks. So this one came out fine other than the missing texture. I'm pretty sure I know exactly why that is. Also, that's sitting really high on his left shoulder. I'm gonna need to tweak that. Again, I think that's because it's not attached to the shoulder bone. So I'm gonna need to lower it just a bit. This one seems fine. I don't see any issues with it. No clipping anywhere, nothing sticking out too far or anything like that. It's a bit loose in the back, but overall I think this one came out pretty good. Okay, and finally the heavy one. Again, this one's missing that texture. I know exactly what the issue is, so I'll go tweak that in a second. The bandolier thing might need to get lowered a bit. I don't like how far off of his chest and shoulder it's sitting, but probably not the biggest deal. If that were on like an NPC running around, you would probably never even notice. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with these. Let's go fix the missing texture and then we will call it a day. Okay, so the reason we have that missing texture is because, let's find, so it's this one, and it's on this piece. It's because we're using a material that's not actually in this resource. So I went ahead and I fixed the material that was here. The reason that I was having issues is because I didn't actually put anything in here. I had duplicated this and renamed it, but I didn't actually fix it. So if we use this name, that should fix it. It's not fixing it. Why are you being difficult? Okay, here, equipment brown. I don't think there's anything else named that. So will that work? It's showing the texture. Why is the texture? Let's rename this stuff too. So I'm gonna group rename this equipment underscore brown, not brawn, brown, and we should, in theory, be able to just rename everything that. What is going on here? This one's being difficult, so I'm gonna call it here and I'll troubleshoot this off camera. The issue is that there's another material called jack equipment somewhere in this mod, and the reason why this disappeared when I changed the name is because there's no texture called equipment brown in the texture file. So if I'm going to rename these like so, then I need to go into the texture file and actually rename them. So that's the issue. I just need to go fix it. But this episode's already gone on long enough, so we'll call it here. We did, you know, what we set out to do. I just need to fix these stupid textures. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. I'll probably do hats and helmets unless you guys want to see something else, which is totally okay. Just, you know, let me know. But yeah, we'll probably do hats and helmets, and I might do it the import way, so importing the static meshes. I'll try that and see if it works. If it doesn't, then we'll do it the way we did this, where we'll just add another resource containing those. But I'd prefer to avoid resource clutter, so if we can add them to an existing resource, that would be fantastic. But I'll try it out and see how well it works. Sometimes that can be real finicky, but when it's a helmet or something, you're only adding it to the head bone, so we should be able to get away with it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time, god damn it, stupid Windows. I had a great time modding some Warband with you. Hopefully you guys did too, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next episode.